I've said it once, I've said it a million times. These are the same old Terps. SOT is God's favorite host. It is the Maryland Football Postgame Show here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Your home for Maryland football. Your home for Terps videos throughout the year. Football, basketball, other news, recruiting. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button for my suffering of watching this putrid product. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, show support so we can get this out to other, I'm sure, frustrated Terps fans. Hit the bell to know when all of our content drops. And as always, let's talk down in the comment section. Let's chat it up. Leave a comment, your thoughts. Is it time to fire Mike Locksley? Should he walk home from Piscataway, New Jersey barefoot? Does he need a belt to the ass? Sound off down below. We want to hear from you. Maryland football dismantled by Rutgers 35-20 here on the Maryland Football Postgame Show. God's favorite host. Your Saturday night is doing better than mine. What can we say? Maryland defeated by Rutgers 5-20, and it probably wasn't even that close. Maryland was only able to muster 3 points in the second half. Rutgers with the 21 second quarter where they scored on 3 straight drives. And then in the second half, Rutgers does just enough. And they pretty much steamrolled the Terps to their 5th consecutive loss after a 4-0 start. Yet again for the Terps. The Terps were down by 8 points in the fourth quarter, and they needed to get 80 yards on this drive to tie things up, as they would need it, the touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But the Terps only mustered up 3 yards. Malik Washington, who was stellar all day on the ground with his legs, couldn't even hit 100 in the passing game. When they needed to throw the ball the most, they failed greatly. They fell 35-20. They set a new low. And on that second play of offense, what better way could you draw it up to start? The second play from offense. Malik Washington, the longest run of his career, 73 yards to the end zone, untouched, beautiful read option, great play call. And I said it, they need to find a running game, whether that's Malik Washington, whether that's utilizing other run schemes. They did a really good job of that. Now, his 164 yards on the ground did lead the team. It was more than Maryland's entire team had in a game this season. It's the first time the freshman eclipsed 100 yards in a game in either college or high school. So longest run of his career. So he was bringing it with the wheels today. Rutgers matched the Terps' ground attack on its first drive. Now, they usually were a throw-first team. Greg Schiano actually came into this game with a really good game plan saying, Maryland's depth is an issue. Maryland doesn't have enough warm bodies. Maryland's the second worst team in the Big Ten at stopping the run. We are going to run the football down their throat with Raymond, who had 41 carries on the day. Man. The first 5 plays of the game, the Scarlet Knights ran the ball, and then they set up some deep field shots when they got in the red zone. But they actually did the Terps get an interception off of a tip drill from Kalikamannis' interception. Jamar Glasgow again with another interception, so he's doing his damn thing. But they had 3 straight runs by DeJuan Williams, and it put him around a 50. And then it was 2 passes to Dorian Fleming, but the second one, penalties. They only had 5 today, but at crucial moments, at crucial times, inopportune times, they got penalties. They only had 5 penalties. Rutgers only had 1. So talk about discipline. They were the more disciplined team, but that face mask really ended a drive. I think that would have ended with points on that situation. They were moving. That was a terrible play, self-inflicted. We talked about those, and they have not gotten any better at them. Even if they only have 5, those 5 are at the most crucial times and cost them the most. After that, the Scarlet Knights got rolling. Picked them up. and it was an easy pitch and catch score, wide open. From there, it was two contrasting offenses. To end the half, Rutgers played to his true self. Calicomanis began dialing up deep shots, a 45-yard bomb on a rollout to an uncovered. And I talked about him as one of the key players yesterday in my preview, Ian Strong for a touchdown. Then he finished the drive with Strong yet again. Strong had 3 touchdowns on the day, by the way. 5 receptions, 3 of them touchdowns. He was balling. I told y'all watch out for this brother. They got a 6'6" receiver. They got a 6'3" receiver. They have size at the receiver position, so he can just throw it up and they come down with it as well as anybody in the Big Ten. Now, Maryland did find a running game today. Malik Washington had a 54-yard run, and then Nolan Ray, who was fantastic today, he had a 50-yard run. And those set up the Terps for eventual scores. But at halftime, it was 21-17. Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights were up. Now, right after that, the second half, they get the kick return. And on the first drive, Calicomanis dropped a beautiful pass in the bucket to Duff in stride for 40. And Strong ended up getting his third tested in ball. Now, Antoine Raymond was fantastic for Rutgers, a whopping 242 yards, the most by a Scarlet Knight ever in a Big Ten game. Maryland's offense reached a turning point late in the third quarter, but not a good one. The final 5 drives accumulated in just 3 points, as I mentioned, only 3 points in the fourth quarter. Rutgers pretty much got back to the heavy run in the fourth quarter. They pretty much couldn't convert on third and long in those passing situations. Maryland defense actually honed in on the pass. They couldn't really get much pressure, but they were stopping them in the passing game and actually set up a couple of third and longs. But Raymond capped off the drive with a beautiful score, capping off another sensational afternoon. Maryland drops below 500 for the first time, and things aren't looking great on the horizon. Michigan, well, on the road, Michigan at home, and then Michigan State after that. Both starting running backs, along with Washington, gashed the Scarlet Knights defense for 305 yards on the day. Williams finished with 14 carries for 64 yards, while Ray had 5 for 77. Each finished with personal season highs on the ground. 238 yards rushing in the first half, already a season high. The previous game high was 152. The passing game did not show up, as I mentioned. He didn't even reach 100 yards to Malik Washington. 15 of 28. While making your layups, we talked about the regression in fundamentals, technique, throwing off of his back foot, throwing fastballs when he doesn't need to. He missed Williams wide open on the 4th down when he blitzed him, which he probably would have still been running and would have had at least a shot at getting inside the 10-yard line. I think he probably scores, if not close enough. Then the throw to, I believe it was Fleming, which was not a good throw. 15 to 28, 98 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick. That was a bad decision as well, going into the half with the turnover. Had a chance to get points there, turned the ball over. And like I said, early on, Malik looked good, but then he hit a reverse, missed some receivers. He missed Williams. He threw a ball behind Octavian Smith Jr., trying to get him involved on a 3rd and 10 deep in Rutgers territory. Now, Maryland did have a couple of 4th downs that they went for on that drive leading up to him missing Williams, but man, I don't know if they're going to fire Loxley. Speaking of which we'll get to in a second, bowl eligibility running out. Maryland needed this one. They would have to win 2 of its last 3 games on the road against Illinois next week, Michigan State, and Michigan. And I want to get to Loxley because it's over 49 and 72. 89 and 72. 37 and 46 at Maryland now. 17 and 45 in the Big Ten Conference. So those numbers are not going to get it done. As mentioned, Antoine Raymond, almost 6 yards a carry, 240 yards and a touchdown. He was the workhorse today, and he pretty much showed that great lineage of Rutgers running backs. We think about Ray Rice, we think about Isaiah Pacheco, we think about Monangai with the Bears. Antoine Raymond is right in that same cut of. I mean, the receivers, they pretty much kept them in check, throwing the ball. Strong only had 88, but 3 touchdowns. Duff, 2 for 69. Sheffield had a touchdown as well, but when you run the ball for over 200 yards as a team, 250, 5.2 an attempt, why throw it? And Greg Schiano, they embarrassed Maryland with coaching. They outcoached them. He was able to confuse the Terps enough with his defense. They were able to do enough defensively, get off the field in timely stop down with the help of Malik missing throws. And a loss is one thing, but to lose by 15 points on the road, where it just seems like you are pretty much out of gas, you get steamrolled and dominated. And like I said, 17-45 in the Big Ten, no wins after a bye when you get double byes. That is very worrisome if you are a Maryland fan. But if you get rid of Loxley, who's going to want to come here? Because he has recruits. They're not going to come here. You're going to have poachers who are going to take away some of the fabulous freshmen and other players on this team. Try to get Malik, try to get Sidney Stewart, try to get Zion Mathis. They're going to try to get them because they have more money. And they say, well, you can come here and win. You don't even have a stability there in Maryland. But Malik Washington couldn't reach 98 yards. There was a lot of dink and dunk in the pass game. I talked about that. They don't have a receiver that can stretch the field vertically, that can really win one-on-one and make explosive plays down the field. And it's a lot of dink and dunk, which is 2-3 yards in a cloud of dust. And that's not going to work when teams are right up on it, bringing pressure, tackling you right at the line of scrimmage, or you can't even deliver the ball the way you need to because we couldn't handle the blitz today. Now, Washington, like I said, 164 yards on the ground. I would love to continue to see him evolve as a quarterback and utilize his legs more. That's all he needs. He needs 5 to 7 carries a game. 5 to 7 carries a game. He may not even get 8, but 5 to 7 carries. I think he can get you around 50, 60 yards rushing, and that can really add another dimension to this offense. But Antoine Raymond was definitely the player of the game. 41 carries, 240 yards. I mean, in the Maryland community, in the fan base, is calling for Loxley's job. I don't see them firing him tomorrow or however they do it on Sundays with these college coaches because that buyout is what, 13, 14 million, highest paid employee in the state of Maryland. Would they at least let him finish out the season first with 3 games left? I believe so, because if you fire him now, this season is definitely over. They're going to check out these players and they're going to be pretty much getting mollywopped these last 3 games of the season. The only winnable game they really have is Michigan State, but I don't even have faith that they can beat Michigan State. So this team is banged up. They have no depth. Defensively, they're second worst in the Big Ten against stopping the run. Like I said, the highest receiver was Fleming with 39 yards, Webb with 21 yards, Knox 2 for 13, Farouk. These guys weren't even in the game. I mean, 2, 3 yards a catch, 9 yards a catch. I mean, it's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. And you just can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, defensively, they did all they could. Wingate led them in tackles against Scruggs, Colton Smith. So a lot of completed balls on the corner. Just see a lot of DBs up there with tackles. I do want to give love to Nasir Taylor, though. He had a really good game and a sack. 3 tackles and a sack. I like him, another fabulous freshman from Maryland, local guy. I like his upside with Wingate. I think Maryland needs another linebacker with Wingate and with guys like Stewart and Mathis on the ends. Like I said, I would like to see them maybe have a D tackle. Ian Thomas has done a really good job, in my opinion, but maybe another guy next to him that can help stop the run and also push the pocket. I keep saying that in the Big Ten. You got to have offensive and defensive line. You're going to win in the trenches, and Maryland's trenches aren't very good. Today, they ran the ball very well, but when you can't stop the run and you got one guy getting over 200 yards, that is not a good sign as well. Now, on special teams as well, McPherson had a bad punt, but other than that, he did punt well. He had a 31-yard average, one inside the 20 along with 44, but nearly blocked. One nearly blocked as well, and he shanked one. So not his best day, but I can't put this on special teams. Sean O'Hara made both of his kicks. They had a penalty on his 39-yard attempt, and they pushed him back. He still nailed it right down the middle. So special teams is going to do what they do. But their kicker didn't even have to do anything, just have 5 extra points. And they had 2 returns on the punts as well. No, I'm sorry, no returns on the punts or kicks. So they did a really good job with that as well. And yeah, like I said, they only punted twice. So, man, it kind of sucks when you come on here and you kind of, I picked Maryland to win, but I said this is a coin flip. And I said, Maryland could very well come on here and lose. And I'm surprised that they lost. I'm surprised in the manner that they lost by the team only being able to muster up 3 points in the second half, 3 points in the fourth quarter. You give up 21 points consecutively 21 unanswered. You actually hold them to 14 points in the second half, but they're just playing keep away. They're able to run the ball, drain the clock, and they're able to cruise in the victory lane. You hear them singing, dancing in the crowd, revving up the engine, starting the keys. They dominated them at the point of attack, and Maryland couldn't get off blocks, and they were dismantled 35-20. Tough loss for the Terps. Let's look at the team stats real quick before I get ready to get out of here. But those numbers, man, 17-45 in the Big Ten. Like I said, winless off of bye weeks, as well as 39-70 at. But Maryland 4 of 12 on third down. Look at Rutgers, 8 down opportunity. Couldn't capitalize, and turnovers 2-1. Rutgers actually had 2 turnovers. Maryland won the turnover battle, but there you go. Time of possession, 34 minutes, basically 35 minutes to 25 minutes. So they beat them by 10 whole minutes. So almost a quarter, 5 minutes short of a quarter. They dominated the ball and dominated the line of scrimmage. So will Mike Loxley be fired? I don't know, but I don't see it happening, at least before the season is over. But losses like this are never good. And unfortunately for the Maryland fan base, I understand where they're coming from. Like I said, I kind of wanted to give Boston grace through next year, see what he can do with the recruits he's bringing in, hit the portal hard, put some more NIL dollars in this program. But guys are going to want to. They're saying you can't even beat Rutgers. You've lost 5 consecutive games to quality opponents. You even beat teams that you're supposed to beat. You can't win with the lead. You can't come from behind. You can't play a full 4 quarters. I'm good. I'm gonna go somewhere else, win, and while doing so. That's all I got for the Maryland Football Postgame Show. They were dismantled by Rutgers 35-20. What is Mike Loxley's future? Go hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Consecutive game, and we shall see what happens. We'll preview that game as we always do here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Your home for Maryland football. Yours truly, God's favorite host, getting ready to get out of here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next edition of some Maryland content. Tough weekend for Maryland. Basketball loses to Georgetown by 10, and football gets blown at Rutgers 35-12. There you have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night, everybody. Maryland loses 30. I don't know if there's any hope left in the season. 2 more wins to be bowl eligible. Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State. And I don't see them winning 2 out of those 3. They could surprise at this point. I think the wheels are just coming off. It ain't gonna get no better right now. So there you have it. I'm out of here, y'all. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Peace.